Those of you who got an invite, welcome to Nerd Prom.
No matter where in the world you are, we're all Nerds International. With the hyphen.
Right, YouTube, it's Mr. Mean coming at you from gloomy, cold Beaumont, Texas. This is a rant. Be prepared. I got some shit to get off my chest. A lot of things going on. Had to take a gaming hiatus last weekend. Couldn't game. Just bad week. Look, my hair is crazy. Just life 101 getting in the way. You guys know how it goes. I'm sure you're affected by this just as much as I am. I'm a GM by choice player, or GM by preference player by choice. And I much prefer GMing as opposed to playing, but if you're a good GM, then I enjoy playing in your game. And I have two good GMs in my life that are in my local gaming group, and I enjoy gaming with them a lot. But sick baby, sick wife. Luckily, I've avoided the plague this year so far. Knock on wood. But everybody at work is sick. So it's just one of those things. But tonight, just wanted to go over a bunch of little things. Gaming rant. If you're not interested in hearing a rant, click away. Be my guest. I won't be offended. Drop a like or a dislike. Do what you got to do. But I wanted to go over a couple things that I've seen lately, especially today. It was kind of it was a busy day, but I did a lot of my work remotely. For those that don't know, I'm an IT administrator. I'm a senior desktop administrator, so I do most of my work from my desk. But I was watching a review today of Slay Industries, which is one of my all-time favorite games. And I did a review on that. Go back in the archive, check it out, and you'll see. I said, it's not a great game. I said, it's a fun game. I said, it's a good game to me. Are the mechanics perfect? No, they're horrible. I hate the combat mechanics in that game. But the game, to me, the world is so interesting and involved and pulls you in. And it's a very dark kind of sci-fi, verging on horror setting. And there's not another game out there quite like it. I mean, yeah, you can do GURPS, you can do Savage Worlds. There's some generic games out there that are like it, but there's no singular setting that's quite like Slay Industries. It was ahead of its time. Jared Earl and Dave Alsop made it's a cool setting. That's my opinion, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight. Is I watched a video today of this gentleman, and I'm not going to name who it is, but he did a review of Slay Industries talking about how bad it was. And granted, it's YouTube, and you can kind of pretty much say what you want with little to no repercussions. And I get how it's easy to be the 800-pound gorilla behind the keyboard. And I get that. And it's okay, because, again, opinion, I've stated this in the past, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. And I watched this guy's video twice, and I listened to it very carefully. And what miffed me is not that he gave the game a bad review, because that's okay. You got a game, you don't like it. Hey, you're freely entitled to throw out your opinion and say, hey, game XYZ sucks, I don't like it. You're fully entitled to say that. In my opinion, you're fully entitled to say that as long as you've tried to play that game. If you haven't played that game and you sit there and you say, this game sucks, then you're a hypocrite and you're an asshole, in my opinion. I'm sorry. Maybe that makes me a bad guy, but my nickname is Mr. Mean for a reason. I don't pull any punches. I think if you're going to criticize a game, you should at least have the consideration to sit down and try the game and try to go into it with an open mind. I've played a lot of games in my 30 years of gaming. A lot of games. And I've played games that I walked away from the table going, what the fuck did I just play? I've run games that I know players have walked away from going, what the fuck did I just play? Nobody's perfect. Matt Mercer, who is probably the pinnacle of GMs in the world right now, has his off days too. I can guarantee it, and I'll lay money on it. It takes a special breed of person to be a GM. Anybody can be a player. Playing's not hard. GMing is hard. It is work. And any GM that tells you it's not work is not a good GM. because I don't. Every GM I know that's worth his salt will sit there and agonize and worry about the decisions he thinks or she thinks her players are going to make, and try to cope with them in some way, shape, or form. It has taken me many years to sit back and go, I don't care what they do. They're going to do what they're going to do. I'm going to try to get them to do X, Y, Z. If they do ABC, that's okay, because I'll plan for it accordingly and I'll adjust, because that's what a GM does. We adapt and we overcome, because the players are never going to do what you think they're going to do. But to do a review of an RPG or a board game or a video game or anything, that matter of fact, and to outright bash it and say that this is the worst thing ever made, and you've never played that game, that to me is not fair to the game designer, to the game publisher, to the game itself, and to the fans who like that game. Now, I think you fully are within your rights to go, I went to a convention this weekend, I played game Scribble Scrabble, and man, the GM was awesome, but the game just sucked. Or vice versa, the GM sucked and the game was awesome. I mean, I know I've run demos where people went, they didn't get it. They didn't like my style of GMing. They didn't like my attitude. They didn't like the timbre in my voice. They didn't like the way I looked. We're people. We have choices that we make every day. But most people, I can honestly say from my experience, if I run a game demo where I'm pimping a game for somebody, at least one person out of that 4 to 8 people that played in my game for that one game will go to the dealer's room and buy that game. If they don't already own it, maybe they already own it and they just want to get a different perspective. And I've had a ton of people come up to me and go, dude, I never thought of the world like this. Thanks for giving me a different perspective. And I've done that. I've sat in other people's games and gone, I never thought of it that way. My friend Joshua is what I would consider an impromptu GM. He has fully stated many times that he goes in with nothing prepped, especially games like Star Wars or Dungeon World or Monster of the Week, which are powered by the Apocalypse games. He straight up says, I don't have anything prepped. He may have a rough idea of what we're going to do, but he doesn't have anything solid. He just wings it. I mean, games like Star Wars with their narrative dice, Genesis with their narrative dice, you can do that if you're a halfway decent GM. So, getting back on track here, bashing a game that you've never played, not cool. I don't think that's fair. And I left a note on the person's site, and if he sees it or not, if he chooses to respond, that's fine. I'm not here to get into a debate with him or a slugfest behind keyboards. I just stated my opinion, and I did agree with him on parts of his video. The mechanics for Slay Industries are dated. It's an early 1990s game. It's very dated. The art was very sloppy, but that was the style of the game. All of the art in the book had that same look and feel, washed out, black and white, line drawn, not super crisp. A couple pieces were, but for the most part, that was the look they were going for. They were going for that dystopian, drug through the mud noir look, and I think they achieved it. And again, we're talking about a 20-year-old game. So enough of that. I just wanted to get that off my chest because it really, for lack of a better word, I want to say it offended me. It really did. And I was speaking with my friend James over at Feral Games Inc. I did a review for him a couple of weeks ago of his game Zombie Squad, which I happen to have a copy right here. Zombie Squad Deluxe. I did a review. Go check it out. This guy's a small press gamer. This guy, has a full-time day job. He's trying to run a small publishing company to help other gamers who make small press games to get published and to get out there, and he's trying to help people. So here's a guy doing things to help other people that's not necessarily putting any money in his pocket, but he's trying to help people because this is a passion. This is a labor of love. Whether you do, and I hate to say this in James Feral Inc. games, don't take it the wrong way, a no-name game, and have it go up against, something like, The Dark Eye. This is a well-known game. This is a 30-year-old game. It's been published in numerous languages. It's extremely popular in Europe. It's gaining ground here in America. Dare I say it's one of my favorite RPGs. But this little guy here, is trying to compete with these guys. That's hard to do. If you know anything about the publishing business, it's a dog-eat-dog business. It is not, happy-go-lucky. Everybody's trying to get a slice of that pie, and that pie is only so big. There is only so much slices in that pie, and everybody wants a slice. And we, with our dollars, we make up that pie. And here's a guy that put out, in my opinion, a really good game. It's very kind of tongue-in-cheek, kind of, gritty, sci-fi, dirty, Blade Runner, cyberpunkish. And it's his take on it with a decent little mechanic. And he's trying, and kudos to him, because I don't have the courage or the talent to put a game out. I review games because that's where my talent lies. Whether it's good or bad, it's still a talent. It's something that I do, and I have a number of followers, and a lot of people like watching me ramble about shit. Hey, it's YouTube. They got to waste time somehow, and I'm glad. I'd rather them do this and be somewhat constructive instead of doing something stupid. So hey, if I keep somebody entertained, then I've done my job. So kudos to guys like this. Kudos to Feral Link Games. I'm just going to hold up a couple here because, like I said, I think this is important. Kudos to World Wicked Games. These guys did Cold and Dark. They actually got a deal with Modifius to kind of kickstart their game and publish it. And I haven't heard anything from these guys, but I did a review of this game too. And I bought this on DriveThruRPG, and I'll do a shameless plug for DriveThruRPG because I think it's a great service. You can go and get a PDF game for $10. I think I paid $10 for this. I mean, this is a full game, and it's color. I mean, I printed it, on a color printer at work. But, you could print it black and white at home if you had to. And we're looking at 313 pages with it, including the index of a really good game. I did a review of this one too, and again, another small press company just trying to make it. I actually helped play test this one. I think my name's in the credits. The Entropic Gaming System, another great game. When this game first came out, it was a direct, I don't want to say ripoff. That's a bad word. It was almost identical to Savage Worlds, and that was one of the things a lot of us playtesters said is, hey, it's too much like Savage Worlds. You need to change it. And so he did. He uses an escalating die system for your core mechanics. I'm trying to see if the author's name is in here. Yeah, Aaron Huss. Mr. Huss has put out a couple of different things, and he's got a bunch of people that did the art in here. There's a review of this one coming real soon. I've had this for a while. I just haven't gotten around to reviewing it. But again, another small press game. This guy has a full-time job. This is something he does as a passion, as his love. So to shit on someone's love, their hobby, I think is in poor taste. I really do. I think, you can say, I don't like this game. I don't like the mechanics, but at least you tried to play it. When people do reviews or they talk about things, and again, their opinion is just that. It's their opinion, and they are entitled to it. That's why we live in America. That's why I went overseas and fought people so you could have that opinion. And I fully embrace that, and you're allowed to have your opinion, but I'm also allowed to have my opinion. And I think if you're a small press game designer, you should be applauded, and I say kudos to you, man, because there's not enough of you out there. Everybody knows D&D. Everybody knows Vampire the Masquerade. How many people know Entropic Gaming System? How many people have even looked at it? So that's why I do these videos, to bring your attention. Somebody posted a negative comment on one of my reviews and said, don't take me down a rabbit hole, just tell me about the game. Well, I do tell you about the game. You may not like all of my rambling, and hey, again, this is America. You're free to click on by, hit the dislike and move on, brother. You never have to watch another video of mine again. That's your choice. I don't make you watch my videos. But what I try to do is drum up interest in you or in your friends or in general to say, that game sounds kind of interesting. He told me enough to pique my interest. I'm going to go check that game out. And even if you don't buy it, even if you just go on the web and you go to DriveThru and you look at it and you look at the preview or you download a demo of it and you look at it, even if you don't buy it, it still counts in my opinion, because at least you gave it a fair shake. You looked at it, you read a little bit of it, and you went, it's not my cup of tea. Or, ooh, I kind of like this. Mr. Mean was on to something here. I'm going to download this. And man, please, if you do that, if you go to one of my reviews and you go to DriveThru and you download a demo or you buy it, send me go to that video and post a note and say, hey, Mr. Mean, I've got this game on your recommendation. Man, you blow. That game sucked. You know what? At least you bought the game and you made an informed opinion. And I appreciate that. If you got the game and you ran it for your friends, or one of your friends ran it for you and you loved it, drop a message, man. That gives me validation, lets me know what I'm doing is worth it. You know, it's worth it to me, but is it worth it to you? I'd like to hear from you guys to know, hey, keep doing it, Mr. Mean. I like what you're doing. Or, you know, hey, you know, can you do this? Can you do that? Give me some constructive criticism. I'm never going to say, hey, fuck you, you're an asshole. I may delete your comment. I may not post it, but I don't think I'll retaliate. I don't think I'm that type of person. I don't like to be the 800-pound gorilla behind the keyboard. I don't think I have to be. I'm very secure in myself and everything, and I enjoy what I do. I do this for fun. I don't do it to get rich. I don't make any money off of this. Every once in a while, I get some free product, and when I do get free product from a game designer, I make sure to state that in my video. Hey, this was a review copy sent to me by X Games, so take that for what it's worth. But I tell everybody when I do my review, I told Mr. James at Feral Games Inc., I said, dude, I'm going to read the book, and if I don't like it, I'm going to tell everybody I don't like it. You know, but if I do like it, I'm going to tell everybody I like it. I do honest reviews, and if I don't, there's only been one game that I really didn't like, and I did post that review. Now, it's a dead game. That company is no longer around, and that was Providence, Zid Creations, and you know what? I bought all of the books, and I bought them on discount. I bought them at a used bookstore, but I bought all the books, and I read it, and I made an informed decision about this game sucks, and I tried to run it. I tried to run it for my group in California back in the day, and it sucked. We walked away from that scratching our heads. All of us, you know, 10 plus year veterans at that time, walked away from that game going, what the you know, but the game was cool looking. You know, it was hawk men and eagle men and, you know, chicks with big hammers. It was a cool game. It looked cool, but it didn't deliver on the mechanics. No matter how cool the world was, the mechanics sucked. You know, and I did a review of it. Go back in the archive and check it out. So another small press game, review of this coming soon. Another one, small press game, Uncharted Worlds. This uses the Apocalypse engine or Dungeon World. This is a very narrative game. Again, small press game. Did a review of this one as well. It's out there in the Mr. Mean archives. This was first edition done in October 2015. Sean Gnomes, all rights reserved. Edited by Julie Doobie. I just like her name, Doobie. Reminds me of the Doobie Brothers. So, very cool game, you know, but not really well known. You know, again, this guy has a full-time job. He works hard. He put this out because it's a labor of love, and I just think that's cool. So, enough of berating on that. The moral of the gist of my point, I guess, is don't bash a game until you've actually tried it, you know, or at least read it and go, oh my God, these guys are on crack. I can't tell you how many games I've read and the rules just didn't click until I played it. If you've never played The Dark Eye and you read the rules and they talk to do a skill resolution, you got to roll 3d20. You're like, what the hell? Why do I got to roll 3 dice to find out? But once you use it, you physically do it, it makes sense. And that sense of exhilaration from succeeding at a skill check makes every skill check really count. And when you succeed, you feel successful. It's not like a single die roll where you're like, oh, okay, well, I made it. You know, I mean, it's almost like every time you succeed at a skill roll, it's like rolling a natural 20 in D&D. It's amazing. And that's because skills in this game are tough. And not everybody can do everything. You may be you want to make a combat monster? You can be a badass combat monster in the Dark Eye. You know what? You won't be able to talk your way out of a wet paper bag, most likely. Or you'll have so many disadvantages that you'll be almost unplayable outside of combat. And the game takes that into effect. And there's checks and balances to make that work. And for that game, it works. Would it work in another game? Probably not. Probably will. I don't know. The point is that, they've had 30 years of tweaking this game and to get it the way that they think. And the creators will tell you right now, it's still not right. So, I mean, it's a labor of love. And it's just, I think you got to give a game a try before you say you don't like it. It's like, here's the perfect analogy, and then I'll put this dead horse to bed. I don't like spinach. Well, have you ever eaten spinach? No, I've never eaten spinach, but I don't like it. Okay, well, how do you know you don't like it? Well, I don't like green. That's not a reason to not like something. Now, granted, it's free will. It's America. You can have that opinion. It's okay. But you can't say you don't like something if you've never tried it. That doesn't make any sense. In my mind, now, I could be way out of line here. But I'm just telling you, from my sensibilities and my point of view, it doesn't make sense. If you've never tried spinach, how can you say you don't like it? Because you don't know. You may try it and go, oh my God, I love it. Prime example, my wife had never eaten snow crab until we went to the casinos in Laughlin. We took a weekend and we went to Laughlin, just her and I. She had never had snow crab in her life. She thought, oh, I don't like that. I'm not going to. And then she tried it. My wife will make snow crab at a drop of a hat if it's on sale and we can afford it. She'll get it and we'll eat it. She loves it. And if we go to a buffet that has snow crab, that's all she'll eat. So, but you know what? At least she had the courage and the fortitude to try it before she said, oh, I don't like it. She just said, I don't think I'd like snow crab. So she never tried it. So I said, well, try it. I said, it's easy to open. It's not hard. I showed her how to crack it open. Oh my God, she loved it. So there you go. So anyway, next rant. DriveThruRPG. I've got 105, 110 videos up now. About mostly reviews. Some of them are one or two are a rant. One's talking about the equipment that I use when I got my new Snowball microphone and I got my new camera. But for the most part, they're all game reviews in some way, shape, or form, or talking about RPGs or tabletop RPGs. And so I was a friend of mine was trying to send me something on DriveThruRPG and it wasn't coming through. And so we had to open a ticket with DriveThru. Great customer service, by the way. If you ever, at least for me, I've never had issues with their customer service. They've been fantastic. So we were dealing with the customer service, and I keep getting these emails once a month. Mr. Mean, review the games you've bought. And it'll have like the last 5 or 10 games that I've bought or have been sent to me. And I just blow it off. I delete the message. I don't think about it. So there I am going through DriveThruRPG, and I'm looking in the archives and everything and seeing all the stuff that I've bought on DriveThruRPG and everything. And it's quite a bit of stuff. But I realized every time, I'd go to one of them, because you click on the link of the product that you had purchased and it takes you to that product page in DriveThruRPG. And of course, the first thing that pops up is reviews. And I see, some of the games have some reviews, and there's always a little thing for me that says write a review because I've purchased this product. You have the right to do a review. And my good friend Brian Eiskoff has told me many, many times that I should be doing reviews for DriveThruRPG. It's too much work and I don't want to do it. I do this for fun and I don't want to be under any kind of, schedule and things like that. And I'm just always blown it off. And so on a lark, I decided to email DriveThruRPG and say, hey, look, I have a YouTube channel and some of your content providers or the people that you sell product for have asked me to do reviews. So I have a YouTube channel and I do reviews. Is it okay to post a link to my YouTube review in your review section so that I can send people to my channel to do a review, to read my review? So I don't have to type up a review. I type all day for work. I don't want to do it for my leisure. And they said, hey, we've never been asked that. We'll get back. We'll ask the powers that be and we'll get back to you. Sure enough, later that day, I get an email from one of the gentlemen at DriveThruRPG. And he says, his email said something to the gist of, and I'm paraphrasing here, it said something to the gist of, we normally do not allow links in our reviews, but due to the fact that you have a YouTube channel and, it's reviewing product that we sell, yes, please feel free to do it. Awesome. Cool. thank you. So then I started going through, and I must have posted 20 reviews yesterday. I mean, it was kind of dead at work. And like I said, I do my job remotely for the most part anyway. So in between calls and work and stuff, I was just cutting links, cutting and pasting, And that's how Jared Earl got a hold of me from Nightfall Games, the original, one of the original creators for Slay Industries, which brings us full circle back to the review. He posted on my YouTube video, "Hey, thanks for doing the review, blah, blah, blah. Thanks, kudos, really enjoyed it." And in all fairness, I said in the review, I don't like the rules. I don't like the combat rules. They're too convoluted. But I said it's a fun game. It's and I made mention of the Savage Worlds hack, which is really good, by the way. If you're a Savage Worlds fan, go out there and do a search for Savage Slay and download everything you can get for it. There's about 3 or 4 little books there, and they're not big, but they're well done. And it's Slay in the rule set of Savage Worlds, so it's really well done. Dare I say, almost professional. It's really good quality. But anyway, Jared was very nice to say some nice things, and it got me really stoked. And so that was a direct result of me being allowed to publish my video on DriveThruRPG. And basically all I did was I clicked how many stars I wanted to give the game. Like in the case of Slay, I think I gave it 4 stars. And then that allows you to write a review. And so in the body of the text, I said, hey, go check out my review of Slay Industries. And I posted the link. So super cool there. I thought that was really neat. It was nice of DriveThru to do that. And hopefully it'll drive a couple more people to my channel, which is neat because I know there's a lot of people that look at the games and they look at the reviews. So I like to give somebody an option aside from reading a lot of text. Let me do all the reading for you and give you my opinion, whether you like it or not. So we've gone over small press, we've gone over DriveThru, we've gone over bashing games. Miniatures. This is a big one for me. Do you guys use miniatures? Years ago, I was gung-ho about miniatures. I had the map, I had the dry erase mat, or I'd have pre-printed, I'd go to Kinko's and I'd print off on their plotter, I'd print out a dungeon or whatever, and I'd use miniatures. And, nowadays, over the last, 10 years, we've had pre-painted miniatures. Like this is the White Dragon, from the Legend of Drizzt. This is a D&D miniature. This is Icing Death from D&D miniature. You can see the dust on there. I need to clean it. But yeah, this is pre-printed, nice big dragon, And then of course you've got this is a new line from WotC, Wizards of the Coast, and these are pre-primered miniatures that you can buy, and you usually get 2 or 3 to a pack depending on what they are. This was the Dragonborn because in my friend Joshua's game I'm playing a Dragonborn monk, and so I got this guy right here, and I think what I'm going to do is clip off his axes, although I might leave them because I could use them, and that's going to be my character. So hopefully you can see that. The detail is phenomenal, but what's really cool about these is they're pre-primered. So all I got to do is slap some paint on this and I can go. And I'm horrible about painting miniatures. I love miniatures. I love miniatures games. I love Infinity. I love Malifaux. I love Wrath of Kings. I love Dark Age. It's my 4 favorite miniature games. I have a ton of miniatures for all of them. None of them are painted because I pretty much don't have the time. If I have free time, I use it to either make these videos or to play RPGs with my friends, maybe occasionally a board game or 2. But for the most part, I like to spend it playing with my friends. Now, that being said, then there's also, generic miniatures. This came in Game Trade magazine. It's a wizard. He's holding a book. It's kind of clear. It was just one of their ones they did. It's plastic. It's very nice. It's actually going to be my wizard for Frostgrave. That's another miniature. Well, that's the other miniatures game I play. So I guess I have more miniature games than I care to admit. I also have Rogue Stars and I also have Scrappers, which are 2 kind of weird miniatures games. I've done a review of Frostgrave, and I need to do a review of Scrappers. But that's neither here nor there right now. But that's, do you guys use miniatures? I find the older I'm getting, the less I want to use miniatures. I still like them, and I still occasionally will buy some when I catch, like I just bought these 2 Dragonborn because they really caught my eye when I saw the miniature. And they're pre-primered, so I was like, oh, I can get closer to painting them. and I could have an actual miniature for my character in our D&D game that we're playing, that Joshua is running. And so but I just find that as I'm GMing, the older I get, I don't want to use miniatures. I prefer theater of the mind. I like to sit back with my book and my clipboard and just focus on telling the story and not worry about, moving miniatures around and things like that. But then every once in a while I get a wild hair and decide, God, I want to use miniatures. And, I've got a giant tub over here underneath my desk that is just full of pre-painted D&D miniatures, and I've got quite a few. And a lot of people are still confused about miniatures, or you're not a very good painter. These pre-painted Paizo and D&D miniatures are fantastic. Are they the greatest quality? No. But they're tabletop quality. They're good enough to play with. If you throw a kobold out there, everybody knows that's a kobold. And that's all you really need to worry about. If you throw a gremlin out there, everybody knows it's a gremlin or a goblin. And you go with it. The Paizo goblins are fantastic, and they're painted crappy. But because they got the big football-style head and the little bitty bodies with jagged-looking swords, everybody knows that's a Pathfinder goblin, and so it works. So I just run that gambit back and forth of if I want to use miniatures or I don't, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But for the most part, I do not use miniatures. But do you guys? Let me know. You can go on eBay and or even Amazon, and you can buy lots of the D&D Pathfinder miniatures. Like you're running a story with a whole bunch of orcs. Just go on one of those services and just buy a lot. I needed a bunch of orcs. I bought 30 various orcs from the pre-painted D&D miniatures a couple years ago. I bought 30 orcs for like $5 plus shipping. Shipping was another $2 or $3. So, you can get them pretty cheap. They have rarities and you get the expensive ones, but you don't have to buy those. You can buy the non-rare versions, the commons or uncommons, and like I said, buy lots, and it's super cheap. Check out your thrift stores, because a lot of times these guys will take their miniatures when they're getting out of it, and they'll take them to the thrift store and just give them away or whatever. So I found several D&D miniatures at thrift stores in a bag, $2. It's easily $50 worth of miniatures for $2. So, be aware, it's out there. The deals are out there. So it's kind of what I wanted to do tonight. I just want to do a rant, talk about shit. That's what I did. I hope you guys are all well. I hope everybody's staying healthy. So as always, leave a comment below. Hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video. Hit the like and subscribe button. Helps me out. And as always, peace and hair grease. And remember, be nice.